If you've ever felt trapped by social media as an artist, or you keep getting frustrated with your art because it doesn't turn out the way that you want, I want to share one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten that really transformed the way that I viewed my art and posting it online. If you're new here, hi, I'm Brandy. I'm a digital artist. I share art tips and tutorials, and I've also been documenting my art journey online. I started this YouTube channel after I was getting basically nowhere with Instagram. Every time I posted something to Instagram, I would literally lose followers. So I decided to pivot to YouTube, and so far it's been the best decision for me and my art. Starting over on a different platform was a big decision and really scary for a lot of reasons, but the advice I want to share I think really helped me through this sort of period of change, and it also helped me grow my channel faster, I think, at least. Not only that, but I think it helped me become a better artist. My art skills really improved during this time, and I really think that's kind of because of this like mini epiphany that I had. So the advice that I want to give, I first heard from Kelsey Rodriguez. I don't remember the specific video, but I know she was talking about creating YouTube videos, and she heard this from another YouTuber. And basically in that original video, they said that instead of setting a huge goal and taking these huge, impossible leaps to get there, instead you should aim to just get 1% better every day, or with every task that you do. And if you think about it, that's like makes a lot of sense, because 1% is like minuscule. Like it's super easy and very simple to do. Kelsey related this to creating YouTube videos because she basically said with every upload, you should aim for just getting like a little bit, like making tiny changes to make it better. And that advice has always really stuck with me. It's really what set me down the path of improving the lighting in my videos, improving my editing, also changing like camera angles, all of that stuff. But where this advice really helped me is when I realized that this can also apply to other platforms and also just art in general. So if we take Instagram, for example, I know a lot of artists struggle with the lack of engagement, just not getting enough followers. And what I think is really helpful is if instead of worrying about like, how can I get to 10,000 followers, I think instead if you change your mindset to how can I get 1% better with every upload, I think that goes a long way in actually getting you to that like 10,000 follower goal. So if you post a lot of reels, for example, instead of posting a reel and then being frustrated when it doesn't do well, instead, if you can just change your mindset to how can I make this reel better than my last one? How can I make it more engaging, more entertaining? Could you add music? Could you edit it differently? Could you add like elements that come on and off the screen to keep people engaged longer? So whenever you shift your mindset from like the numbers and the analytics, instead you're taking actionable steps to improve your content, which a lot of times gets you to the goal that you want faster. So instead of aiming for a like seemingly impossible, 10K follower goal on Instagram, you're giving yourself a much more attainable goal of just getting 1% better. And whenever you do this, this gives you a better sense of accomplishment because it's easier to do. And a lot of times improving your content like this leads to better engagement and more views and more followers from that. And I think this can apply to art in general too. I think we've all had those moments where we create something and we have this vision in our head of what it will look like, and then when we put it on paper, it doesn't look like that at all, which is really frustrating. So instead of, worrying about creating this masterpiece, instead think of every drawing and painting as an opportunity to just get 1% better. And obviously this differs for everyone just based on where you're at, your skill level. Just look at your art and ask yourself, could I improve my anatomy? Could I paint different lighting situations to get better at understanding lighting and shadow? Do you not typically draw animals? Maybe you can start practicing drawing animals and then try including an animal in your next painting. One of my goals this year was actually to get better at drawing male characters because I literally never drew them because I wasn't good at it. And so I decided I want to get better at that. And so it doesn't have to go from like 0 to 100. I can just with every single time I draw them, I want to get 1% better at drawing them. And already this year, I feel like I see improvement because I've been working and practicing and just like taking tiny steps to try to get better at drawing them. And I think this really ties into the social media aspect of it too, because a lot of times I think people are drawn to, like, I think your art skill kind of helps determine how well you do on a platform, especially Instagram. I feel like the better your art skills get and the more you improve, I think the more people that are willing to follow your account. I mentioned earlier, whenever I was active on Instagram, every time I posted something, I would literally lose followers. And actually now, since I've started on YouTube, I still post on Instagram occasionally, but I don't really focus on it. I don't even look at like the numbers or anything. My only goal really on Instagram is with every time I post, I still want each painting to get a little bit better. And I do think I have kind of accomplished that. And actually funnily enough, now that I don't really focus on Instagram, my follower count has gone up. So, and I think that kind of ties into my main takeaway, which is that you're trying to grow online as an artist. I think if you focus less on the numbers and the analytics of things and just instead think, how can I get 1% better, whether that's your art skills and your art or just your behind the scenes stuff, filming, editing, things like that, like just your video making skills. I think focusing on those things and taking those small actionable steps, I think will give you a lot more success in the long run. And honestly, I think that's what really helped kind of propel me here on YouTube, is having that mindset of I want every video to get just a little bit better. And that's, I think, really helped me. And my videos are nowhere near perfect, and I'm still continuing to try to improve them. But I think it's come a really long way from where I started. But I think if we just can improve our art skills, our editing skills, and just try to be the better versions of ourselves each time, I think that's kind of like the secret sauce to success. So if you have any art advice or opinions that you want to share down in the comments below, let me know. And that's all I have for you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!